guys, welcome to Styx and Stonehenge. A few of you might be feeling a bit of whiplash from having seen me over at Nokasuchi's channel. If you followed me from over there, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the Kurds and the recent decisions that Trump made that, well, threw them under a series of rolling tanks. So, welcome to our stream as per usual. It's the typical co-hosts, Calon, myself, Via, and Cingeto. Unfortunately, Wolf is doing his podcast tonight, so he won't be joining us until later if he does at all. So, waiting for the room to fill up a little bit. Calon, do you want to kind of go into why you picked this particular topic?
So, I do a lot of research and studying with minorities and whatnot, and the Kurds are a minority who are, it appears, about to be wiped from the face of the earth. So, yeah. Not so fun times for them. They're also a religious minority, though, and that's what ties into this channel. You have the Yazidis. And the Yazidis are interesting.
So, would you like to go a bit into sort of what distinguishes them from the general Muslim population, bits of sort of cultural relevance, and maybe a little bit of history as far as what makes them so unique and why it's so important that they, don't get wiped out of the four countries that they happen to inhabit?
Oh, hey. Okay, good. Zacto's here. Yeah, since Zacto is here, we can start. I think. Let's see how many people are here. Kind of want to wait for the room to fill up a little bit before I start, because otherwise I'll end up repeating myself a ton. So, yeah.
Well, with Via, Cingeto, do you guys want to sort of add something to your feelings about the Trump decision, or like how you feel about the topic? Also, it looks like we've got Mistress Angelica in the chat as well.
Well, I found out a couple weeks ago about this whole bullshit happening because of some certain communities that I'm in that have like special interests, like with the Kurds and their particular political affiliations. And so I heard that there was a fucking ethnic cleansing going on, and so I fucking hate it, and that's pretty much what I got to say.
Oh, the whole debacle makes me sick. I'm really irritated about what's going on right now. I don't have too much to say, and it's been a situation I despise and not proud that it's happening right now. And yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about it. I'm just really irritated about what's going on right now.
So, for those who don't know what happened, or who haven't been paying attention to the news, the Kurds, there was this group a while back. See, it's been about like 4 or 5 years since this group split off from Al-Qaeda. This group became known as ISIS, Islamic.
It's also Islamic.
The Institute for the Secularization of Islamic Society.
And there's also ISIL, they later became, and now they're just the IS.
Well, ISIL was actually a part that we put on them. The real thing that we're going to call them is Daesh, because they hate that name. And I'm not a fan of ISIS. So, Daesh, as it would probably more closely approximate the Arabic. It literally means like to step or to tread on, because that's what Daesh did. So this group decides to come in and take all of Syria and part of Iraq. Well, almost all of Syria. Raqqa was their capital. We obviously didn't like that, because there were extreme Islamic jihadists Now, because they were jihadists and they threatened to basically turn that whole area into something not seen since the Taliban, and because they started to carry out terrorist attacks here in the West, we got together with a bunch of other nations and we started to bomb the living heck out of them. Now, bombing is effective, but if you really want to get rid of a particular group, you kind of need the ground invasion too. We did not want to initiate this ground invasion. We don't want to. Invading Syria is not a good idea at the moment. It's a freaking mess. So instead, we enlisted some of the anti-Assadian, Assad was the original president of Syria, forces, and the Kurds. The Kurds would be the ones who would initiate.
Just a subtle correction. We did actually have a number of our troops on the ground. We had a guest over on Nakasuchi's channel that said he fought alongside the Kurds.
During the Iraq invasion. But during the Syria invasion, they were all limited to advise, to giving advice and training. That's the part I was about to get into. So, we basically provided the Kurds with some allies, with some assistance. We gave them weapons. We sent people over there to train them. There may have been a few U.S. troops who may have occasionally got caught in the line of fire, as well as some U.S. Servicemen, from what I recall, who actually did go over to fight ISIS because, well, they hated what ISIS was doing. So, shift 4 years later, and the Kurds end up taking Raqqa and kicking ISIS and driving ISIS underground. I would say kicking out of Syria, but I mean, really, it's driving them underground. So, we get to present day. There's a somewhat, I guess, uneasy condition between the Kurds and the Turks because of this group called the YPG. And the YPG in general wanting to liberate Kurdistan, which includes part of Turkey. Turkey doesn't want that, so they want, obviously, to destroy the YPG. In fact, I think their leader is currently in Turkish prison. So, in comes the 2016 election, and we decide, we didn't really decide. Popular vote did go to Hillary. So, the Electoral College decided that we would elect Trump. Trump initially, of course, backed the Kurds. Until recently. He decided to sell out the Kurds to the Turks by basically withdrawing all of our remaining troops from them. And
this,
so now,
by the way, is after having negotiated for them to bring down a number of their barricades and their reinforcements along the borders with Syria and Turkey.
Yes, because they thought the reasoning is that if we do that, maybe that'll de-escalate tensions with Turkey, which, the Turks, they want to eliminate the Kurds. The YPG in particular. So, the Turks decided and subsequently executed a military operation to destroy the Kurdish government, the local YPG forces being their primary attack. And so, because of that, a lot of people have died. Forget what the most recent numbers are. As well as the region is now, again, in turmoil as the YPG are now scattered. So yes, we took the Kurds, we used the Kurds, and then we just sold them out. And that's what happened.
currently the most breaking news on this particular portion of the conflict, by the way, is regarding
Russian and Turkish combination, which should be the Russian-Turkish concordant. Am I right?
According to this, it says that no, this is breaking news from a few hours ago. It says that Syria and Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces and Turkey have met conditions for what he calls a permanent ceasefire, and he lifted the sanctions on Ankara.
Oh yeah, from Trump. Yeah, that I haven't looked so much at. What I did see was apparently Russia is also helping Turkey do this because I guess War on Terror in Turkey classifies the YPG as a terrorist organization. And so, yeah.
So, do you want to talk a little bit about the the actual culture of the Kurds and what makes them so different from the Islamic governments and cultures in the area? Because there are a few things that definitely distinguish them. They're not one unified group, for example.
Oh yeah, no. For the Kurds, you have they're divided. I think it's 4 distinct groups. You have the Sorani, the Kurmanji, and I think the Gorani. All of them represent different sort of linguistic subgroups among the Kurds, and you also have the Yazidis. Now, Yazidis follow a unique Abrahamic religion, which I don't know. Do you know how much about it? Do you know, Aliakai?
I know some. I know that in terms of governance, one of the big distinguishing factors is that the vast majority of Kurdish, for example, schooling is majority secular, and that they're far more religiously tolerant than the surrounding region.
Well, yeah, I asked about the religion in particular.
I'm not actually as familiar with it, to be honest. Much like many other people in the community, Islam and variations on it are not things that I'm as familiar with.
Exactly.
Calon?
So, anyhow, sorry for the background noise. So the thing with the Kurds is that yes, Islam is part of their traditions, and there's also a unique religion that people who have followed the whole thing with against ISIS will be familiar with. And those are the Yazidis. The Yazidis are not Muslims, but rather actually follow their own unique Abrahamic religion, where, and I could be mistaken, but I don't think I am. Basically, the so-called fallen angel was the reason why the angel didn't bow before God is that to do so would be to make God lesser than man. That was the idea. And
do you have any idea what the theological justification for that would be?
Yes, it's because the angel was directly made from part of the essence of God, while man was made from dirt. So to bow before man would be God bowing before dirt, basically, from what I recall.
Interesting. But
so rather than being punished, God awarded the angel with dominion over, I think it's either part or whole of the world. I can't recall which. But yeah. So we are dealing with a religious minority here. Answer some questions. Look at the chat.
They're also an ethnic minority as well. In Turkey, they refer to them as Mountain Turks. In Syria, they kill them. They don't actually refer to the Kurds as anything at all, and in fact have purged any mention of them from their roles because they consider them to be external to Syria. They're known to kill off their people and give their land away to Arabs.
Yeah, that's why you have the formation of the Peshmerga, which literally means those who face death in Kurdish, in order to defend against these various threats. Although, from what I heard, the Kurds had decided recently, out of necessity, to ally themselves with Assad. Is there any truth to those rumors?
I would have to do some quick on-the-fly digging, so if you give me a moment, if you want to continue sort of discussing the differences in culture, but also the geographic spread, because they were promised a country of their own. We went over this in Nuka Stream on the more political side.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they were promised their own country in the 1920s and 30s at the end of, I want to say, one of the World Wars. I want to say it was World War One.
Probably most likely World War One.
But when the boundary lines were redrawn 3 years later, they were basically fucked over, and now they sit in the corners of 4 different countries.
Basically. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they inhabit an area called Kurdistan. The Turks, in order to delegitimize this claim to Kurdistan, refer to them as Mountain Turks, and have done various other things to try to eliminate the Kurdish identity. For example, it is illegal to broadcast in Kurdish. And yeah, and their schools are all in Turkish. Basically, think of what we did to the Native Americans, and they're basically doing the same thing to the Kurds, or trying to. This, of course, has resulted in the Kurds sort of banding together, and also why there are paramilitary units which guard the Kurds. This sort of resists, because when you try to force assimilation onto an ethnic group, it has a tendency to make the ethnic group bound together and become somewhat stronger.
So, according to Nakasuchi in the chat, Assad has already sent troops to stave off Turkey. So, apparently they're allying with Syria, which is interesting because Syria has been trying to wipe them out for some time. But for anybody who's interested, I just posted a link to the New York Times in the chat if you want to go read that on your own and kind of learn a bit more about it.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Assad was always no more than a puppet for the regime, and his wife took the reins. So, yeah, it's a huge mess. Not only that, but Turkey also employs some jihadists themselves, interestingly enough. Jabhat al-Nusra. So yeah, a whole mess.
Hey, look, Wolf is in the chat.
Hi, Wolfer. Really, Snake?
Hi, Wolf. Oh, wow, you're in here now.
Yeah.
What's up?
How went the podcast?
Oh, it's fantastic. We had a good time.
Hey, Wolf.
Hey, Cingeto.
Yeah, we went.
And
We
to
ended
think
up
I was
running
just
a
about
bit.
to call you a traitor.
Uh-oh.
We went a bit long on Nakasuchi's stream. I ended up kind of getting invited last minute to chat with Sokka about virtue ethics and the problems of tolerance.
Right.
So
Yeah, I actually checked our chat, and I saw that you guys started way later than I thought you would. And I was like, oh, man, I bet they're still going on. And I checked, and you were. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to hop in. I can't stay long, but I felt I owed it to show up and talk for a minute.
it's always wonderful having you and your glorious, glorious red mane.
Red mane, like Ocean's beard may be omnipotent, but yours is stronger.
Mine is absolutely stronger. Wolfred's strong beard.
It's on omnipotence plus.
So, what conversation did I interrupt?
We were talking about sort of the desperation that the Kurds have been driven to ally with Assad in order to stave off Turkey because the US abandoned them.
I have really strong opinions, and honestly, I can just sum them up to: this is goddamn ridiculous.
This is the second time the US has fucked them over in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
The second.
It's the second big, news announce time that we've fucked them over.
Yeah, we.
Yeah.
When does the
definitely
US ever
not a fan
stop
of
fucking people
how
over?
all of that played out.
Well, it's quite clear that, Trump has been cozying up to dictators. Like, most of the people he considers his friends and most of the allies he rebuffs, it's quite clear where they fall on the political spectrum. I mean, as much as I know that we have a mixed audience as far as politics are concerned, but this is something that is quite readily observable, from how chummy he got with the leader of North Korea to his commentary about Russia and China to, the sort of friendship that he's starting to build with both the Sauds and with apparently Turkey, which is also very deeply corrupt in terms of government.
Well, in all
So
fairness, when it comes to the Souths, we've always have been somewhat very friendly with them in terms of like buying oil and whatnot.
Right.
The
So
orb,
that's
enough
not
said.
that surprising. What is more surprising is that we give a damn about the Turks in this case, especially with Erdogan.
Well, they've
Losing
effectively...
popularity.
Well, from what I've heard also, like, Trump offhandedly said that he, quote, sold the troops to another country, and that's why they got moved there, that they, quote, paid for
Saudi
them.
Arabia. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, hear that, everyone? We're mercenaries now.
I'll take it.
Yeah, we're getting paid so that we can move troops to another country and let one country just start a fucking ethnic cleansing and literally try to wipe out a whole race.
It's awful, honestly.
Well, and, like, Calon and I were kind of starting to talk a bit about, like, how unique the Kurds are in terms of both their religious tolerance, but also, like, they have their own unique religion within one of their subgroups.
What's the unique religion? I actually have no idea what you're talking about, and I'd love to know about it.
The Yazidis. So they are a unique Abrahamic religion.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They have this very interesting form where basically Satan doesn't. Satan's not a fallen angel. The reason why Satan refused to bow is because the angel was made from God, and if the angel bowed before God, then that would mean that the God would be bowing before man.
That's wild.
So, and then as a reward, and God doesn't punish him because of that. Rather, he gives him like dominion over the earth and whatnot.
That makes sense, I guess. Not really.
Not right. I mean, it's really like that's why they get called devil worshippers.
Well,
yeah.
I found an article from the BBC that sort of goes over it a bit, if you guys would like me to read a passage from it to kind of describe a little bit. Apparently, it's actually derived in part from Zoroastrianism, if anybody's familiar with that.
Zoroastrianism?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But in her accent.
my apologies, okay? I had a terrible fucking night.
No apologies needed. I just like picking on people for their accents.
Ulfer is going to Ulf.
It's true.
So here is just like a brief sort of excerpt from just the bits that they discuss here in the BBC's article about the difference between this and other religions. Their own name for themselves is Dawasin, which is taken from the name of Nord Nestorian, the ancient church of the East. DOCs, for many of their beliefs, are derived from Christianity. They revere both the Bible and the Quran, but much of their own tradition is oral. Due in part to its secrecy, there have been misunderstandings that the complex... Oh, never mind, I misunderstood the thing here. That the complex Yazidi faith is linked to Zoroastrianism, with a light-dark duality and even sun worship. Recent scholarship, however, has shown that although their shrines are often decorated with the sun and that graves point east towards sunrise, they share many elements with Christianity and Islam. Children are baptized and consecrated by a pir, which is a priest. At weddings, he breaks bread and gives one half to the bride and the other to the groom. The bride, dressed in red, visits Christian churches. In December, Yazidis fast for 3 days before drinking wine with the pir. On the 15th to the 20th of September, there's an annual pilgrimage of the Sheikh Adi at Lalesh, north of Mosul, where they carry out ritual ablutions in the river. They also practice sacrifice of animals and circumcision. Their supreme being is known as Yazdan. He is considered to be on such an elevated level that he cannot be worshipped directly. He is considered a passive force, the creator of the world, not the preserver. 7 great spirits emanate from him, the greatest of which is the peacock angel known as Malak Taus, active executor of the divine will. The peacock in early Christianity was a symbol of immortality because its flesh does not appear to decay. Malak Taus is considered God's alter ego, inseparable from him, and to that extent, Yazidism is monotheistic. Yazidis pray to Malak Taus 5 times a day. His other name is Shaitan, which is Arabic for devil, and this has led to the Yazidis being mislabeled as devil worshippers. The Yazidis believe that the souls pass into successive bodily forms, transmigration, and the gradual purification is possible through continued rebirth, making hell redundant. The worst possible fate for a Yazidi is to be expelled from his community, as this means their soul can never progress. Conversion to another religion is therefore out of the question. In remote areas of southeast Turkey toward the Syrian and Iraqi borders, their once abandoned villages are starting to come back to life, with new houses being built by the communities themselves. Many Yazidis are returning from exile now that the Turkish government leaves them undisturbed. Despite centuries of persecution, the Yazidis have never abandoned their faith, testimony to their remarkable sense of identity and strength of character. If they're driven from Iraq and Syria by IS extremists, the likelihood that more will settle in southeast Turkey where they are left to live out their beliefs in peace. This is an older article, mind you, 2014. So this is prior
So
to
the
these
whole part
conflicts.
about living their lives in peace in Turkey probably wouldn't happen these days.
Yeah, no, not today. In fact,
Why do you think that is?
Well, because Turkey is enacting a genocide.
Right.
So the point is, though, that gives you a little bit of an idea about how just different and unique this particular branch of monotheistic tradition is. It's not quite Christianity, it's not quite Islam. It's really kind of very much its own thing, and it may derive from an earlier Christian tradition.
Yeah, roughly. They are a religious minority in a sea of pretty much chaos at this point.
So what do you think about that, Wolf? It's a very, very different take on monotheism, like 7 great spirits, and interesting.
Yeah, it's something else, all right.
Well, another note that I saw earlier in the article is that if a Yazidi marries a non-Yazidi, then they're considered to be converted to their spouse's tradition and get exiled from the community.
Yeah, there are some traditions which, for them, do cause, like, especially that's one of them. There are other things surrounding like sex and hang-ups there, like with rape and whatnot, that are also torturous for them, which is what made the mass rape of Yazidi girls such a heady news item.
So, I'm interested in what you guys feel about the conflict overall, not just the political aspect, but also the religious aspect. Given how, difficult it has been for scholars to actually study it, like when you start digging around to try to figure out what they believe, the resources are pretty damn sparse, and that's quite an accomplishment in the age of the internet.
Yeah, they have basically the Kiteba, Kiwe, which is, or Jiwe. I think it would be Jiwe because they're around. They probably use a little bit of Turkish orthography there. but basically they have the Yazidi Book of Revelation. So yeah.
Well, and much like Native American traditions, being carried down orally means that a lot of it is quite at risk to be lost if they wipe out enough of the people.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're looking at losing traditions. We're looking at a whole mess.
Do you want to expand on that at all? Like, we can't just like make blanket statements and be like, "This is bad." I mean, that's not a very engaging stream.
Well, also, I'm giving Cingeto a chance, or Via a chance to speak.
Do either of you have any commentary?
I mean, just both of us start talking and then immediately mute. So basically, really, all I have to say about this is that it's a really fucking shitty situation and all that shit. Because no minority group, no race should ever have to worry about being literally wiped from the earth.
I already said my opinion on the political situation. It's fairly general. When it comes to the religion, though, that is interesting. I had not known about I have not really, didn't even really knew they had too much of a distinct religion. But it is interesting. I can see why people would mistake it for a form of Zoroastrianism, because from what I do know about Zoroastrianism, it seems very similar to it, especially with the kind of dualistic, at least it sounds dualistic god, because of the two names, one meaning devil and one just referring to a general god, and then the seven spirits and etc. It doesn't really sound that monotheistic to me personally, but that's more of an opinion than I'm going to talk.
Digging a little bit deeper, it seems to be a bit deistic. Basically, the god created everything and then just like stopped fucking with it and put it into the command of these divine angels. But one of them may also be a shade of God itself. So it may be monotheistic, but this is the distinction between a god and a spirit, I suppose, which a lot of non-polytheists seem to have a difficult time describing.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I say that, like, what would you guys define as the difference between a god and a spirit, personally? I'm curious.
God would be disembodied mind that has power.
And a spirit of some kind?
Not that.
So a spirit is not as powerful as a god.
For sure.
That's how I see it. The rest I generally leave up to tradition. So like within heathenry, we have the Landfighter versus the Devigar, and so forth. And the Japanese have various different kami, different classes of kami and whatnot. And for Sumerians, you have gods. Then you also have demons and all this other stuff.
I don't know. I think my distinction between spirits and gods would be, I think power level's a big one, but I also think their ability to influence things, like many gods are considered to, if not be omnipresent, at the very least be present over a much wider area, whereas spirits seem to be far more localized overall.
I was just about to say that, yeah. Localized is a big definition.
Yeah, I mean, most animist traditions, when you start talking about the spirits, they generally are either attached to a physical thing in some way, shape, or form, or an area. Or even, rule over a particular provenance and can't influence outside of that. Whereas, like, from my tradition, when you're talking about the gods may take particular interest in one thing or another, but they're able to intervene in anything. And it's known in ancient times for people to pray to any god that they feel particularly close to for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Cingeto, Via, I guess Cingeto first. What's the difference between, like, the Duoi and the spirits in your tradition?
Deoe is a broad term that can encompass spirits or gods. Generally, I just typically will use it in reference to the god specifically, but in general recognition, it applies to all of them. But if in the by the terms you're using, gods and spirits, I would pretty much use the same thing that you've said, locality and power level when defining if it's whether it's a spirit or a god.
So what about you, Via?
I mean, pretty much the same thing as all of y'all. Because, I can't fucking talk tonight. I'm gonna just end up saying fuck a lot in the middle of my fucking sentences and fucking shit. So,
Fuck is like the
yeah,
best word though, so it's totally
it
okay.
really fucking is.
Easy
But
work.
yeah, I don't have a coherent sentence structure in my brain right now to give a definition for what I would consider a god or a spirit.
But you basically agree with what's been said so far, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Agree with the whole.
So I found something that goes a bit more into detail with on Melik Taus, the peacock angel.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you said the angel wouldn't bow to God, earlier, you misspoke a little bit. They believe that once God created Adam and Eve, he ordered the angels to bow to his creations.
Oh, okay. Then that one.
So, well, the angels... Huh?
I thought that was what I said, that they had to, and when God ordered the angels to bow, he refused to bow. Oh, that's right, I left out that part. Okay, yeah, bow before his creations. Yeah,
Well, the
that
other...
was that's like I meant to be there.
Yeah, he apparently was thrown into hell until his tears of remorse quenched the fires and he became reconciled to God. He now serves as an intermediary between God and humanity.
Okay, that was different than what I had heard.
The story
How serious it is.
This story bears similarities to the Muslim account of Satan called Iblis or Shaitan. In this Islamic tradition, Satan is a fallen angel, a jinn, who refused to bow down to Adam out of pride. For this act, he was banished from heaven and now exists to tempt humanity into evil. However, earlier in this article, it talks about the cosmology. They don't believe in external temptation. They believe in internal purification through metempsychosis, a term referring to the transmigration of souls.
Yes, they also have a belief in reincarnation, from what I recall.
They also think that they're descended directly from Adam alone, while the rest of humanity comes from the lineage of both Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
So apparently their system is rooted in pre-Islamic tradition, but the founder of their religion is Sheikh Abdi Ibn Musafir, a Sufi preacher who died in 1162. He was considered to be an incarnation of Melik Taus.
So, yeah, almost like an avatar. Pretty much like an avatar.
Mm-hmm. A lot of because the do not bow story is often conflated with Satan. That's why a lot of Muslims consider them to be Satan worshippers.
Mm-hmm.
But according to a Muslim scholar who specializes in Yazidi society, Tausi Molek is not fallen, but because the aspects of his interactions with God bear similarity to that of Satan in his Islamic tradition, Muslims have associated with him with the devil. Melik Taus is manifested in the form of a peacock, according to Reverend Professor Patrick Camerford, lecturer at the Church of Ireland Theological Institute. In early Christianity, the peacock symbolized the resurrection and immortality because it was believed its flesh does not decay. This characteristic, as well as the peacock's brilliant colors, may factor into this understanding of the angel. So they, like Muslims, pray facing the sun at sunrise, noon, and sunset. Wednesday is their holy day, and Saturday is their day of rest. So that's actually really interesting and unique.
Mm-hmm.
They have a caste system of murids, sheikhs, and peers who each marry within their own group. Children are baptized at birth, and though circumcision is common, it's not required. Their dead are buried in conical tombs soon after death with crossed hands.
I'm getting a lot of Hindu vibes as well from it. Like with the avatar and whatnot. Oh, and the caste system.
So it seems like most of the articles that I'm finding don't go into too much more detail than that. I can't find any information on the other 6 angels, for example, or the other 6 spirits. It seems to be very secretive.
I wouldn't say necessarily secretive, but the way that the knowledge is passed down, like orally, it probably just hasn't been recorded in text,
Well,
or at least hasn't been for
Right.
the access of the internet.
well, and apparently there are 2 compiled books that do appear to represent actual oral tradition. One of them is called the Black Book, and the other one is the Book of Shaitan, which I believe Calon mentioned earlier. And both of them appear to be having been recorded by non-Yazidis, but they do seem to represent the actual oral traditions that they espouse. Like, they seem to be accurate, but they were not composed by Yazidis.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Makes sense to me.
So, yeah.
do we want to go into any more detail about the other ethnic groups, Calon?
You guys definitely can. I'm actually going to go ahead and call it a night. I've got work tomorrow, but I appreciate you letting me stop by, say hey, and it's really good seeing everybody.
Thank you so much for coming and hanging with us.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure.
Wolf?
You guys be good and stay safe.
Alright, I'm gonna pick on you in public. We need to play Overwatch again.
Oh, man, no. Speaking of human rights, I'm done with Blizzard.
Oh, you're doing the
Yeah,
boycott
I
again?
would stay away from
Yeah.
them.
I uninstalled my Blizzard launcher and just not going to touch it again. I'm pretty hard on Destiny right now, so if anybody wants to come hang out with me on Destiny,
Destiny was done
give
by
me a
accident.
shout out on Twitter and we'll hook up. At Wolf the Red.
Yeah,
oh
I've
wow, Wolf
stopped,
is offering hookups now.
Yeah.
I quit my WoW Classic subscription, but I still play Overwatch because, well, I've already paid for it. It's like they're not making any money off of me just from playing.
Yeah, but like when they go to have their quarterly meeting and go, all right, well, how bad did it actually hit us? I don't want to be a number that they can go, well, look, these people are still playing, so it's not that bad.
Wait,
I-
isn't Destiny part of Activision?
Yeah, but they've completely separated. Like they're no. Bungie bought their rights back. They split up back in like May.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But yeah, Bungie's doing its own thing, and when they released Shadowkeep, it completely changed everything and went back to a good game finally. So I'm having a blast on Destiny. So if anybody wants to play Destiny, hit me up.
All right, it was wonderful to have you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Y'all have a good night.
You too, Wolf.
Bye.
See you, Wolf.
Well, given that there doesn't seem to be a ton of information about all of these things, are we getting fairly close to wrap up then, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to go soon anyway.
Do we have any questions from the chat? I haven't seen too many. It seems to be mostly a discussion of Celtic religion going on at the moment.
Uh-oh.
God damn it, Exacto, what the fuck did you do this
What are
time?
you doing in the chat?
I'm gonna ban him just because. No, I'm
Just,
kidding. Yeah.
I'm starting to think
Ban
Cal,
him because he used to be an atheist.
think
Right.
Cal doesn't like Celts.
I'm gonna ban Kingetta.
Told you.
Also, we have a Hail Voltron. Can I get a Hail Priapus from the chat, please?
Hail Priapus. Oh wait, I'm not the chat.
I mean, I'm sure that he's very appreciative of the attention.
I've actually thanked Priapus
Ban
for
me?
quite a few
Okay.
things recently, if you know what I mean.
Zacto, you don't want to try me. Because I will do it.
Oh, there we go. There's the hail purpose from the chat. So, do we have any questions from the chat? Like, is anybody curious about anything regarding the Kurdish conflict? I feel like we went really deep into the politics over on Naka's channel, so I don't necessarily want to reiterate all of that here. But suffice to say, it's a major faux pas that we basically enlisted a bunch of people as our frontline soldiers, assured them that we'd protect them, and then just fucked off, you know, into the sunset while Turkey was gearing up to kill them all. Also, Calon, your mic.
Your mic.
Calon, your mic.
Aliakai, your mic.
I'm not anywhere
Everyone
near it.
hashtag it on Twitter. I'll start a poll for whether it should be Calon your mic or Aliakai your mic. And whoever the viewers decide is, I don't know.
But the
I
omnipotent
don't know,
beard has
is
already
this-
spoken. Like, Ocean, like, can seamlessly Calon your mic in the middle of his sentences.
I mean, fair enough. I guess if the omnipotent beard agrees, then we can all just say Calon your mic. This isn't a fucking democracy anyway.
We should say Calon your mic in unison. Everyone in the chat, everyone in the voice, just everyone.
Yeah, no.
Calon, your mic.
Let's start learning. Who wants to start learning Kurdish?
Let's say Calon your mic in Kurdish.
Anyhow.
I also, chat, you shouldn't apologize for being in-depth in discussions. I was just asking if you guys had any questions so that we could either wrap up and not. We've got 11 people, it seems, so if anybody didn't get a chance to ask anything earlier, or they're curious, they missed what we were talking about, we're happy to go into answering anything we can, really. Like, information about some of these subcultures is quite sparse. Also, it seems to be near universal, Calon, your mic in the chat. Sorry, Calon.
Mm-hmm.
Calon, guess what?
So,
Oh, come on. You didn't even guess.
I'm gonna guess Ewedi.
Your mic.
How did I know?
The whole chat is just Calon, your mic. It is a sea of
I'm gonna
mic.
cancel the whole chat. Bye, chat. All right, bye, all viewers. There we go. All right.
We're
Now,
deleting the chat completely now.
That takes half the fun out of the stream, though.
Also, apparently our subscribers are having a bit of trouble. I'm getting reports from a few people who are texting me that they're having trouble with notifications for our streams. Apparently, like, the notification in Tony's sub feed just appeared for this stream.
Damn it, YouTube's cracking down on us too. We said fuck too many times.
Nope. Okay, I think did they click the bell when it comes to it?
Yep, notifications are turned on and they're subbed.
Okay, I don't know.
Good night, Noka.
It's
It's
because
just
you're here,
YouTube being a
Cingeto.
little fucking bitch. Because that's
What?
what it fucking is.
No, it's because Cingeto is here.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, just kick Cingeto, and everything will be perfect.
Alright,
Chat, come to my side.
protecting Ghetto.
No one protect Cingeto. Come on, he doesn't deserve it. He's
No,
too cis
Make
for
that
this.
trend. Make that trending.
But,
I mean, to be fair though, we've got that lovely alliteration with Cancel King Ghetto.
exactly. That's what I was going to say. Cancel Cingeto.
You're not wrong. I wish you could, but you're not wrong.
If you ever need to know what this is,
We should get all the Celts together so it can be Celts cancel Cingeto.
to Celtic cancel.
Man, that one too. I can't, man. Just cruel.
Celts Cancel
Cingeto,
King
you're
Ghetto.
dead to us.
Alright, so unfortunately King Ghetto is our artist, but, like, this may
He
end
was
up
our
becoming a channel meme. Like, I have a feeling it's got the makings of
Cingeto
one.
is almost as dead to me as I am to myself.
Oh, Via, go, don't be that cruel. Come on.
It's Via you're talking.
I love you, Cingeto. /S.
Oh.
No homo.
All right, so given that we don't have any questions about the topic for the chat, I guess I'll open it up to Ask a Pagan. Does anybody have any burning questions for any of the four of us?
Can we cancel Cingeto?
Only burning question.
That's my question.
Yes, they have to
and
be
it's
all
very
consuming
burning.
in the fire of your soul. Like, just very carefully consider your words here.
My finger is literally on fire to make me ask for like Cingeto to be canceled.
Angelica's paying respect.
Did you kick him?
Say who in chat.
All right, Aliakai, kick and cancel Cingeto.
Unfortunately, we don't seem to have
Nick
near
starts
as
with
much.
a K though.
We unfortunately don't seem to have near as much of a unison vote here in the chat as we did with Calon your mic. I mean, we're still getting votes for Calon your mic.
This isn't a democracy.
I thought you were an anarchist.
Yeah, not a democratist.
Except that anarchy is ruled
Democrat?
by
What the
direct
fuck is-
democracy. So, like, by direct democracy, Calon your mic.
No, I'm taking over. This is a coup, and Cingeto is canceled.
So you're going to create an unjustified hierarchy. Good to know.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
And-
So
Damn it, Calon, you fucking traitor.
Yeah, I know. It's for good. It's for the good cause of canceling Cingeto.
I mean, fair enough. I do vote for canceling Cingeto.
So say hello to Anarchy, by the way. And apparently Korang says, I don't know if this has been probably brought up, but I find it ironic how Trump always brought up the vacuum left by Obama, but hasn't he done something similar here?
Obama?
Well, no, he's talking about the vacuum left by Obama when he pulled out the troops in Iraq. But he's saying, you know, Korag is saying, like, is this the same thing, effectively?
Ooh, that's a long one. I would have to do research on. I'm going to go and say no.
Apparently, Tony Designs claimed Divine Right Monarchy just to specifically declare Calon your mic and then abdicated.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I have the divine right here.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure. Tony...
Not anymore. I think I heard Zeus say something to me about how I'm supposed to be the queen. I'm
As long
pretty
as we
sure
can
he said
cancel
something.
Cingeto, I'm good.
Oh yeah, I'll cancel Cingeto, but it's also going to be Calon your mic.
I mean, Via, if Zeus was the one telling you that, then what sort of Me Too sort of scandal are we talking about here, love?
Oh boy,
No comment.
Can of worm.
I mean, no, like, in all seriousness, obviously I don't think the gods actually do those sorts of things, but...
I know. I just remember getting a long Twitter discussion on that. Oh boy.
Yeah, I've had to shut down so many people, but you know what? I'm a fucking Hellenist. I can make those jokes in proper cultural context. I mean, after all, he wouldn't have asked anything.
Hellenized
So,
to be able to make those
also,
jokes.
I forgot to state, but a new rule here is that we don't refer to them as Hellenists anymore. We refer to them as Barbaroi.
You can't.
Bar.
Okay, I'm going to call cultural appropriation. Barbaroi lokoi is literally Greek for not Greek.
Except it's Barbaroi actually refers to the Greeks because the Greeks are barbarians.
The Greeks, Barbaroi logoi means any language that isn't Greek. So you literally cannot call the Greeks barbarians.
How do you?
I can't hear what you're saying over bar.
Oh, all of us are speaking in Berber because we're not speaking Greek.
What? I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you, Aliakai. What was that?
I'm going to end the stream on all of you.
Bar.
I guess sure. This is bar now.
All right, so before we burr the
Someone
rest of
take
our
me to the
group,
goddamn bar.
does anybody in the chat have any questions, or do you think we should just head on over to the server for the after party? I will give the chat a moment to consider itself.
See, Barbar, everyone agrees with us now.
the Aliakai, you are
There
barbar.
is one Berber compared to the sheer volume of Calon mics that have been descending on the chat.
Barbar.
Why can't it be both? God damn it, I'm sounding like a fucking centrist now.
Yeah, I was about to
Sorry,
say.
no offense.
Yeah.
All
about
right.
to say.
Oh, we've got stupid whore energy in the chat and another Calon mic. Stupid whore energy. What's your question? We have to wait for the delay on the stream, unfortunately.
I just realized that was the actual name.
Yes, she's also goes by Sarah Peas herself and Sarah Sith.
Oh yeah, Sarah Peas herself. I remember her.
So, we have a question about why we believe in the gods.
Sounds like a stream in itself.
I mean, if you could give as brief an answer as you can.
Because the gods exist.
Because Aphrodite kicked my fucking ass.
Because I had a personal experience with Athena. Twice.
Personal experience. And a lot of it.
Yeah, I've had 2 major personal experiences with Athena, and I've never shared them publicly, per se. So I'm not sure that this is particularly the venue in which to do it on the tail end of a stream about angry politics. But I will say that there are enough bizarre things related to that, and also enough strange things that happened after related to that experience, that trying to put it all up to, like, cognitive pattern recognition or any sort of, like, materialist explanation, I've never been able to justify it, and this is somebody who's very deeply embraced science in most aspects of her life.
Mm-hmm.
But we will eventually do a stream on why we believe in the gods.
Right, and that will be after the stream in which we discuss how barbaric Aliakai is.
Calon, I'm going to meet you.
You would never do such a thing.
Just fucking do it as a power move.
Done.
There we go. Sweet silence.
There we go.
Oh shit! Now you need to mute Cingeto too.
I barely talk.
That's the problem. You don't talk enough.
So, I'm going to ignore the second stupid or energy question. Alright, so, if, Kadama, if you'd like to come on and you want to talk about your personal experiences with the gods when we do that, we would love to have you for that stream. Same with you, Zacto, if you'd like to, because I know you and I talked about that a while ago.
Yeah,
Actually,
by the way, I just went ahead and
Why did you hide her?
she's not an honest actor.
Nah, I don't know. She's generally a fairly respectful troll most of the time.
Yeah, not this time. Not when asking questions about are you gay.
Yeah, fair
Like
enough.
that. So she deserves it.
So, but anyhow, I guess we're going to wrap up the stream. Does anybody have any final thoughts they'd like to share?
Just not my president.
Calon, your mic.
Impeach him.
Calon,
And
your
impeach
mic.
Cingeto.
You know, I feel like this needs to be our end of video tagline is just Calon, your mic.
I'd vote for that.
Alright. So, remember everybody, Calon, your mic, and in all seriousness, thank you so much for joining us for discussing things. I know that the stream was a little bit slow this time because we were talking about some very difficult to dig up information. But if you guys would like to propose future stream topics that you're interested in, many of you do already have the link to our Discord. Shoot us, any one of us, a DM, let us know what sort of topic you'd like to see, or if you've got any questions that you'd like to have answered, or, you know, feel
Everyone
free to post
send
it
me a
in the
DM, I'm
Discord and
lonely.
make sure that you tag one of us. Right? Same with Calon and I are working on starting up response videos as well. We're going to be starting with spirit signs because fuck them, twice, with something covered in ghost pepper sauce.
I mean, that's not my
In the
fetish.
ass.
Well, the
Wait,
anus
can
does
we
have
fuck
taste
them in the
buds.
urethra?
I don't think it expands quite enough for that.
We'll make it expand.
But in all seriousness, if you guys have other pagan channels that you'd like that are peddling some sort of dangerous woo or things that you think that we could apply a particular expertise to, I tend to take interest in any sort of idiotic claims around nutrition. I would absolutely love to have those sent as DM. Myself, Calon, Cingeto, via Wolf. Any one of us, let us know, because we're working on starting up reactions and such to get that going. We're also working on bringing back Mythological Mondays. Cingeto's hard at work animating the first couple episodes for us. We've got lots of stuff coming up. It's just been taking some time to get everything together. Trying to help run 2 YouTube channels and moderate on Nokasuchi's has kept me incredibly busy. And Calon and Cingeto are both in school, as is Via. So we're doing our best.
No, I'm not. I'm a dropout.
I did not know that.
Mhm.
But we're doing our best to
I
get our
dropped
content.
out like 2 years ago.
We are doing our best to get our content out for you guys. We're sorry about the slow pacing. It's a bit difficult when our team is split in so many different ways, but we're doing our best, and as I said, if you send us suggestions, we're going to get around to trying to get them out. So, again, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful evening.